Everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new video in which we're going to talk about the Dangerous Duo bundle, in which we have access to two different tanks, the T25 Pilot 1 and the T26E5. In this review, I'm not necessarily going to focus at all on the T25 Pilot 1 over the fact that this tank is completely useless and that you should never buy it. Now let's talk about the mighty one, the T26E5, that some people like to call the new Super Pershing. Gotta be fair, I completely disagree with them, and here's why. First of all, when we take a look at the price of the bundle, it's 10,000 for two tier 8s, but putting aside the fact that we don't care about the T25 Pilot 1, you're gonna pay 10,000 gold for a T26E5. But the problem is that in the tech tree, back in the days, you had the possibility of getting the T26E4, which is roughly the exact same tank plus some spaced armor for 7.5k gold, 5k gold, depending on the promotions that Wargaming was putting in the game. So my first question to you all is, would you rather spend your money right now to get the T26E5 or wait to get a better version of it by getting an offer for the T26E4 that will probably come out cheaper? Now, of course, if you're still entitled to get yourself the T26E5, there are several things you need to know about the tank before jumping in. The first thing is obviously it's 10 degrees of gun depression, allowing you to be quite versatile on pretty much every single terrain you will encounter. But on top of that, the DPM is something else. 2.5k is really huge for a tier 8, sorry, because for a tier 5 it would be broken. 0.31 of gun dispersion, that is a really good one. Aim time is great as well. To be fair, when it comes to the gun itself, let's say that this tank is performing extremely well among the other tier 8. When it comes to the mobility, that's where this thing starts to get a little bit down, because you only go to 32 kilometers per hour maximum. Not necessarily maximum, but at least that's what I find out by playing the tank again and again and again. So if you're looking forward to get yourself some reactive tank, something that can push forward on the battlefield, then the T26E5 is not necessarily the best tank to go for. Concerning the rest of the statistics, the first time Wargaming introduced this tank, they really axed their campaign on the fact that this thing was actually very armored. And even if at first a lot of people trusted Wargaming, it appeared that they were completely wrong. Simply because when you take a look at the armor profile without angling anything, you only get yourself 220 millimeters. It's not bad, but it's not good either. Let's say that it's average, and when it's average, you can penetrate it quite easily using gold shells. So in the end, it's not necessarily the kind of armor that will be effective on the battlefield. On top of that, you have the lower part of the hull that is extremely easy to penetrate, so you need to hide it as soon as possible and as much as possible. The only thing that probably will help you a little bit bouncing some shots is the gun mantlet, not even the rest of the hull, because if you shoot at this specific angle here and here, you can penetrate it using gold shell. Not to mention the cupola, that still is really hard to penetrate for a cupola, but 250 if you're facing a tier 8 tank destroyer, well, you're gonna get destroyed and penetrated. For the rest of the tank, it's logic, you don't have any armor at all, which implies that, as it's the case for most of the American tanks, you don't want to side scrape at all, because if you do, you will get penetrated really easily. If you want to side scrape with it, you can, but make sure not to over angle. Just stay at a right norm, like here, for example, like I'm doing, and make sure that you're not facing or trying this against tier 8 tank destroyers using gold shell, because they will penetrate you. Out of curiosity, for those of you out there that don't know how to equip their tank, this is pretty much what I'm equipping on mine when I'm gonna play the replay you're about to watch. Concerning the replay, things are getting easy, because even if this tank seems to be not the best, at least the playstyle is really simple. All you gotta do is using your 10 degrees of gun depression in order for you to only expose your turret rather than the rest of the hull. And if you do that, congratulations, you now know how to play this thing. The main problem I encounter with it is that most of the time, if you try to take an L down position, people will switch off to gold shell and penetrate you like you were made of butter. And you're gonna see that against tier 9, like it's the case right there. You need to be careful while playing, and while playing aggressively, most specifically. So there we go. At first, we waited right there, sneaking a shot on the Progetto, and as you can see straight away, we are more of a heavy tank rather than a medium, because even if we are labeled as a medium, we have have the mobility and the armor of a heavy tank, which means that you need to play it like you were playing a heavy tank. If you try to play it like you're a medium, you're either gonna be too slow in order to push with the rest of the mediums, or you are gonna arrive into the position after your team got completely destroyed by the rest of the mediums, and you will just have to wait your turn to get wrecked. So here, what are we doing? As you can see, as I told you, it's all about hold down. I'm only exposing my hull, my turret, and now I'm going to try to push forward. I took some shots in the process, but it's not necessarily a problem because I'm full life, and this position I just took is gonna help my team quite a lot. I see that the Batchat and the T49 are also trying something on the enemies, and I think, okay, this is it. All the mediums are busy right now, which implies that they will not necessarily try to focus me. So instead of having to deal with them, I'm gonna go straight on the heavies in order to support my mediums. So there we go, we sneak 2 shots, one into the side of the hull, one in the tracks. We're trying to bomb attract that Lover, and here you see the main strength of our tank, because the Lover is literally powerless against us. There is no way the guy can penetrate me. There is no way he can do anything, because tier 8 versus tier 8, if I'm in hold down, if you're not shooting at the cupola, you literally have no way to penetrate me. And this is the only thing that makes this tank still relevant in the current meta. But if you are looking for something that is a god in hold down, I would rather tell you to get the T54E2 rather than the T26E5, because it does everything this thing does, but in a way better way. So there we go, you saw that we went on the Lover, we killed the Lover, and now all we want to do is dealing with the mediums. We have them in the back, obviously it's our weakness to get shot in the back, so we are pushing them, we know that the SU-130 PM is not gonna move, we also know that the K91 is locked by my other heavy, which is, if I'm not mistaken, the VK100P, so I have some time, some spare time for me to be able to get those guys. So I'm sneaking some HE on the Progetto, as the guy is AFK. Lucky for me, it allowed me to farm at least maybe 1k damage, killing the guy, and now heading back straight on the Progetto that will soon die. You're gonna see it right now. Now the only thing we have to deal with is the K91, and as our mobility is quite poor, we literally don't have enough mobility to get to the guy, and he's gonna get killed before we make it right now. So hopefully you enjoyed, guys, and you see the main problem there is with this tank, the mobility and the fact that we already have existing tanks in the game that are doing the exact same job in a better way. So in my opinion, this offer is definitely not worth it, and you should hold your goals for the upcoming T54E2 that will come during the Black Friday, especially if you are in favor of this kind of playstyle. So if you enjoyed, you know what to do, and I'm gonna see you soon for a new video. Bye.